last time I checked, the First Lady had none of those accolades under her belt. It doesn't take an Einstein to see that the math ain't mathin' here.
Graced the covers of numerous fashion magazines, was demanding a very high rate to her work. So I think it's inarguable that she qualified for that arts category in the modeling.
Yeah. The hearing room was calm until Jasmine Crockett leaned forward, voice steady, eyes locked on the witness panel. "I want to talk about fairness," she began. "Fairness in who gets to call this country home, and how. Because something's been bothering me for a long time, and today, I'm saying it out loud." What followed was not just a congressional comment, it was a full-blown political lightning strike aimed straight at the heart of the Trump legacy. At the center of it, Melania Trump, and one very specific immigration question. How did she qualify for the EB-1 visa?
Math ain't mathin', says Texas Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett.
In a House hearing Wednesday, Crockett questioned First Lady Melania Trump's reported EB-1 visa.
Known informally as the Einstein visa, the EB-1 is one of the most exclusive immigration pathways in the U.S. It's supposed to be reserved for the world's elite, people who've changed their fields or risen to international recognition through rare, exceptional talent. It's the kind of visa you imagine going to Nobel laureates, Olympic champions, or groundbreaking researchers. And yet, in 2001, Melania, then a Slovenian model with a modest resume, was granted one. Crockett wasn't having it. "Can someone, anyone, explain to me how modeling in a few swimsuit spreads and walking the occasional runway qualifies as extraordinary ability?" she asked.
You're supposed to have some sort of significant achievement, like being awarded a Nobel Peace Prize or a Pulitzer, being an Olympic medalist.
Because I know a lot of talented people, educators, scientists, engineers, who've been stuck in visa backlogs for years. The tension in the room thickened with every word. It was clear Crockett wasn't just questioning Melania's past. She was going after something much bigger. A system that, in her eyes, routinely favors the rich, the powerful, and the connected, while working-class immigrants are forced to prove and reprove their worth every step of the way.
Last time I checked, the First Lady had none of those accolades under her belt. It doesn't take an Einstein to see that the math ain't mathin' here.
This isn't about Melania's accent or where she's from, Crockett continued. It's about the message we send when we give the benefit of the doubt to the famous, but demand perfection from everyone else. The room fell silent. No one tried to stop her. Crockett had tapped into something potent. Let's unpack why this hit so hard and why it may be one of the most consequential immigration soundbites of the year. The EB-1 visa, officially the Employment-Based First Preference, is granted to individuals who have shown extraordinary ability in their profession.
I would agree with Jasmine Crockett. She does not have any Einstein nature qualities.
This could be in the sciences, arts, education, business, or athletics. Applicants must meet at least 3 out of 10 defined criteria, such as receiving nationally or internationally recognized awards, being featured in major media publications for their work, holding a critical role for a reputable organization, commanding a high salary in their field, making original contributions of major significance. The key word here is extraordinary, not just good, not even great, but exceptional by global standards. And that's where Crockett's critique begins to sting. Because by the time Melania applied for the visa, she had modeled for some popular magazines and worked in fashion hubs like Paris and New York, but she wasn't a household name. She wasn't the face of any global brand, and she had no known awards or groundbreaking contributions to the field.
But you can also get it by meeting 3 out of 10 specific criteria, including nationally/internationally recognized awards, high salary relative to others in the field.
Are we seriously pretending that posing in GQ is equivalent to winning a Fields Medal? Crockett asked, letting the sarcasm hang. In fairness, immigration law isn't always cut and dry. The EB-1 visa is subject to interpretation, and the USCIS does allow for a variety of achievements to count toward qualification. For someone in the arts, like a model, media coverage and elite agency contracts can theoretically meet the threshold. Melania, at the time, was represented by Paolo Zampoli, a well-connected modeling agent in Manhattan. It's widely believed he helped sponsor her visa, along with documentation of her international work. That, combined with her marriage to Donald Trump just a few years later, likely smoothed the path toward permanent residency and citizenship. But Crockett's frustration wasn't legal, it was moral. "Let's be honest," she said. "Melania didn't make it through the system because she was the most talented model in the world. She made it because she was dating one of the richest men in America."
Was, I think, dating Trump at that time, Melania Trump, or they were in a serious relationship, something of that nature, gets this seemingly pass.
This wasn't just a shot at Melania. It was a damning statement about a country where money can bend rules and fame can bypass scrutiny. Crockett's comments sparked an immediate media frenzy. Clips of her speech dominated news cycles. Social media lit up with hashtags like #GEinstein Visa, Crockett vs Melania, and Math Ain't Mathin'. Supporters praised her for having the guts to say what others tiptoe around. Detractors accused her of jealousy, disrespect, and turning a policy debate into a personal attack. But Crockett stood firm. "The point isn't whether Melania is nice, or classy, or fluent in 5 languages," she said in a follow-up interview. "The point is whether she would have gotten that visa if she weren't dating Donald Trump. And if the answer is no, we've got a problem." The irony, of course, is that this debate emerged during a time when conservative lawmakers were aggressively pushing for tighter immigration rules. Over the years, Republicans have railed against chain migration, meritless asylum claims, and visa abuse. They've demonized immigrants for exploiting loopholes while ignoring the privileges granted to the elite. And now, Crockett was flipping that script. She wasn't talking about desperate migrants at the southern border. She wasn't targeting those seeking refuge from violence or poverty. She was asking, why do we turn a blind eye when it's someone rich and white walking through the same system? That's the part that stung.
Graced the covers of numerous fashion magazines, was demanding a very high rate to her work, so I think it's inarguable that she qualified for that arts category in the modeling.
Yeah.
Because once you strip away the glamour and political loyalties, you're left with an unsettling question. Would someone with Melania's exact resume, but no wealth, no celebrity connections, and no proximity to power, have received an EB-1 visa? Immigration attorneys have quietly admitted that the answer is probably not. "I've had PhDs with groundbreaking research get denied," one lawyer said anonymously. "Meanwhile, you show up with magazine covers and a famous boyfriend, and somehow that tips the scales." It's not illegal, but it's not equitable either. That's what Crockett exposed. Not fraud, not criminal wrongdoing, but a system that's quietly rigged in favor of those already winning. And that's where the political danger lies.
Leagues want to restore integrity and security in the visa process is actually a joke. Let me be clear, integrity is not snatching lawful visa holders off the streets.
Because Crockett didn't just embarrass Melania, she weaponized the symbolism of her visa. She used it to underscore the double standard in immigration, where poor immigrants must be perfect, but wealthy ones can be merely photogenic. In the days after the hearing, conservative media went on the offensive. Headlines slammed Crockett as bitter, out of line, even racist. Donald Trump Jr. mocked her on social media. MAGA influencers called her a disgrace. But the damage was already done. Crockett had cracked open a conversation that Republicans couldn't easily control. One that reframed the immigration debate not around border walls or caravans, but around fairness, access, and the hidden privileges baked into the system. It's still unclear if her comments will spark any formal review of EB-1 approvals. But the political impact is already obvious. Crockett is now a rising voice in the immigration debate, and she's gained traction among voters who are tired of seeing one set of rules for elites and another for everyone else. For her, it's not about Melania's past. It's about what that past reveals. "Every immigrant deserves a fair shot," she said. But fairness means everyone plays by the same rules, not just the poor, not just the powerless, and definitely not just the people without famous husbands. And with that, Representative Jasmine Crockett didn't just spark a visa debate. She lit a fire under the very foundation of America's immigration myth. that success is earned, not gifted. In a single exchange, she managed to ask the one question that still makes people shift uncomfortably in their chairs. Who really deserves to be here, and who just knew the right people?